Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Dealership Digest. I know you guys are out there in quarantine. I'm your host, Chris Paulino, with my host, Tia Lentina, who's also in quarantine. But we're still bringing you a digital show today because right now that's all we can do. Ain't that right, Tia?
That is true. That is true.
So, I mean, obviously, this COVID 19 is affecting dealerships, it's affecting business, it's affecting health, most importantly, across the United States and across the world. But in the dealership setting, we still have to make sure that we're conducting business as much as we can, right? Because we can't destroy our economy. We have to be able to pay our employees. We have to be able to keep the lights on when the COVID 19 scare goes away. And the only way to do that right now is digital. We got to do it while we're quarantined. So that's what we're talking about today. Is that what we're talking about, Tia? What do you think?
And that's exactly what we're talking about. Some of our main points that we're focusing on today is how dealerships need to be pivoting their strategy and making sure that they're investing in the right places. So Chris and I were talking, and we were discussing how dealerships, would normally have the radio ads going or different television ads where it's like, come on down, come test drive, and in shutdown states right now that's not possible. We live in Ohio, so we're in our little quarantine order from our governor Mike DeWine, and with that being said, it's kind of throwing out a couple curveballs for different dealerships. But um, some we're seeing, some dealerships we're seeing adapt to this, and then other dealerships we're seeing, they're just kind of what would you say, Chris? They're falling fast, to
Yeah.
put it
Now, some
nicely.
dealerships are getting scared and they're kind of, contracting, we can call it, kind of, getting back and cowering in the corner and saying, what are we going to do? Other dealerships are, doing what they can to, I don't want to say take advantage of the situation, but do what they need to do to keep sales going so that when the health scare goes away that we can get back to normal business. But, as we were talking right now, if your marketing budget is going into TV commercials, if it's going into radio ads and those radio ads are pointing to, hey, drive to our dealership. Hey, call our dealership, right? Well, if our customers call our dealership and there's no one there to answer the call, then our marketing dollars are being wasted. If our TV commercials are saying, "Hey, drive to our dealership located at this place," and no one's at the dealership to meet them because we're in, no groups bigger than 10, and we have to be social distance till April 6th at least, and we're all kind of in our little quarantine that we're in. That's not possible to just drive up to the dealership, right? Because we have to make sure health is in focus. So the way the dealerships that are adapting to this are doing it is making sure they're doing stuff digitally, right? They're doing paperwork over their phone, they're doing signatures online, they're delivering vehicles to your home, they're delivering RVs to your home, boats, whatever they're selling, they're willing to deliver that to you and do the whole process online so that we can still practice the social distancing, but still make sure that business is still flowing, salespeople are still, making their commission, making their sales, and so just so that the economy can kind of go back to normal, hopefully, once this health scare kind of starts to dwindle down, or who knows what's going to happen, right?
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to see how dealerships are evolving and they're pivoting more towards that Carvana type feel, at least from what we've seen. The ones that are stepping up. So it's pretty awesome to be in our field at this time to see how dealerships are adapting because. Like Chris, you and I have said in the past, a lot of dealerships are stuck in that archaic mode, that dinosaur mode where they're stuck in mailers and ads and all that stuff. But now with this COVID-19 crisis, they can't be. So it's either adapt or die. And it's pretty cool to
Yeah.
see how dealerships are changing their approach with their internet department. And we found one dealership who has really stepped up. I would say I'm definitely super excited to see what they do in the next few months with their approach. And we actually have a video to show you guys as well. So
Yeah, this is a local dealership here in Ohio, Ron Marhofer, and they made a video during this COVID-19 scare on how you can, order online and get the vehicle delivered to you and kind of do everything without being in front of a person. So let's take a look.
Shopping for a new car? Welcome to Express Car Buying. With our Express store, you can search all cars in our inventory or configure your dream car and we'll find it for you. Get our best pricing up front without the hassle. Select payment options for cash, finance, or lease transactions. Get an instant cash offer for your trade-in. No need to visit the dealership. Research and select recommended service and protection plans. Have a question? No problem. Your concierge will be there for you every step of the way. Complete the entire transaction from the comfort of your home in a matter of minutes. Pick up your vehicle at the dealership or have it delivered to you. Your car will be prepped and ready to go, in and out in less than 30 minutes. That's it. It's that easy. Instant pricing and express checkout. Enjoy Express Car Buying. Start shopping our Express store today.
All right, and that's just one example of, some of the things that you can do to, push your traffic more towards your website. Because the fact is, the thing we're going to be leaning on as a dealership, RV dealership, car dealership during this COVID-19 crisis is our internet leads. How well is our website working? How many internet leads can we pass out to our sales team, right? If we have 100 internet leads that we can divvy up between, 10 people, and then we switch our marketing budget because no one can come to our stores, no one can call our stores, depending on how your phone systems are set up. Um, then we need those internet leads, right? Because if we divvy up 100 last week and this week we switch our marketing budget and now we have 500 internet leads, well, now I can divvy up 500 internet leads between my sales team, and they're at home, they're calling, they're setting appointments, they're, sending text messages, they're, sending emails, they're doing their regular follow-up process remotely while they're in their quarantine, right?
Yeah, and to shout out that video, something I really liked about that was how they said it's more of like a concierge service. They're comparing it to that. And, that's a familiar term that people are comfortable with. And I think that's really a game changer, especially as far as BDC reps and internet managers are concerned. So I really like how they're showing customers that they're still there for them and that these BDC reps are there to walk them through the entire process and essentially like hold their hand through it. So that's one point that I really like. And I think as far as management goes inside the dealership, this is the time that they really need to step up and, build up your internet sales team and make sure that, any help they need, you're giving it to them, and just really like showing them the respect they deserve, essentially, because these are the people that are going to be working, depending on how your internet department's structured and how you handle leads and stuff like that. But these are the people that are going to be getting you sales right now. So, lift them up, don't tear them down. If they need coaching, coach them, but,
Yeah.
Don't come down too hard on them. So,
Yeah, and this is an important time, right? Because we have to make sure our sales teams are trained to follow up with the internet leads, to set the appointment in this setting where, we're in a shutdown state like Ohio where you can't be in groups bigger than, I think they're saying less than 7, definitely less than 10. When you can't be in groups bigger than that, as a salesperson, you have to set an appointment and say, hey, meet me at the dealership so I can show you this RV, this car, this boat, this motorcycle, whatever you're buying during this COVID-19 scare. And maybe you make the deal contingent. Maybe you get the financing set. You get everything done before they get to the dealership, right? So that when they get there, the deal is contingent on them taking a test drive on the car or walking through the RV one final time before they sign on the dotted line, so that social distancing can be practiced, right? Because we don't want a bunch of people setting appointments and then taking test drives in 10 different cars. We want it to be a little bit more streamlined and dialed in when they come and meet our salespeople at the dealership, right? Because we don't want to get reckless in the sense of just operating kind of normal in the middle of a health crisis. We want to still be safe and make sure we're doing what we're doing to curb, the virus, but we still need to make sure we're doing business, right? So, they're coming in, they're looking at a vehicle, deals contingent on this specific vehicle, and it's now more important than ever to be confident in our sales team to be able to follow up with those internet leads, because if they're sitting at home and the protocol is phone call, text message, email, and they're sitting at home and they're not making any phone calls, right? They're just sending text messages or emails, or they're only sending emails, and because they're not under the supervision of your sales managers and GMs or whatever, they're being lazy on the phone calls. This is when we have to be confident that our sales team knows what they're doing and following up with those internet leads while they're at home and while we're sending out these leads to be followed up with them remotely.
Exactly. And I know we've talked about that in the past. It's very important to have the right team in your dealership. And, as long as you have the right team, I would definitely be a type of, manager that would be comfortable with people working from home. I know some different dealerships don't have that working from home policy in place yet, so that makes it kind of hard. But if you are one of those dealerships that, you do have that in place, it's definitely something that I would suggest you would be open to. Because if you have grinders on your team, wherever they're at, they're still going to do their best because that's just who they are. So that's just definitely something that I would recommend. Yeah. And this is a great time, like what we said, as far as redirecting your marketing efforts, this is a great time to comb through your website, run it through different software, see if you have any SEO issues, fix that, get nice, fix the Photoshop pictures that might not be the best, or, be edited wrong on your website that you didn't have the time to look at before. Because I know Chris and I did a website review a couple, like a week ago, and we found several errors on this website. And right now would be the perfect time for that company to go in and fix it.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? Like if we go in and look at our website and say, hey, how well is this optimizing the traffic? How well is this turning our traffic into an internet lead? Because, again, we're at a time right now with this health crisis where internet leads are really the only thing we can follow up with. They're not driving to the dealership. They're not calling. So the only way we're making a sale is with outbound reach from internet leads that we've got from our website, right? So name, email, phone number, super important. If we don't have buttons on our inventory that's saying, hey, click this for our information, or click this to get our best price, name, email, phone number, call me. Maybe we need to figure out that optimization, which we've talked about on past shows. So if you want to dig a little bit deeper in that, check out some of the past shows. But optimize it so that your traffic is starting conversations with your sales team. So, this is going to affect the future of car dealerships, I think. I think a lot of dealerships are seeing, what happens if we have to work remotely? What happens if we can't be in the dealership? Carvana, they're probably loving it right now because not much has changed for Carvana. Maybe they've even got more busy because their process has really been kind of dialed in for something like this, right? So Carvana might be stealing some of the dealership's deals that haven't been set up for something like this to push everybody digital, right? So I think this is going to make dealerships kind of wake up in the sense of, hey, we need to get our dealership's digital presence, our digital sales process, our internet sales process dialed in so that if things like this happen in the future, which we all hope that something, a health scare doesn't happen in the future, but this might be foreshadowing Carvana and digital dealerships taking over and saying, the marketplace wants this. How are you being a dealership that's looking and being progressive to meet the needs of your customers in that marketplace?
I couldn't agree with you more. And something that I've really liked, I really like seeing with all this is dealerships starting to utilize social media more as far as announcements goes. And our service department will be open, but our sales department's closed, or even using humor on TikTok videos. I saw one salesperson, she made this really funny TikTok about, her like sterilizing everything. And, it is a scary this is scary. This is completely scary. So the fact that she's bringing humor to it, and she's trying to bring that positive spirit and that good vibe, I think that's awesome. And I know for sure I'll never forget that video. I think it's amazing, and her branding herself is completely worth it.
Yeah.
And I think too, this also brings up the fact that, Facebook groups, private Facebook groups for your dealership employees, right? You could still hold maybe a live video conference, in your Facebook group that's specifically for just your employees and that's private for your employees, right? We can still have go-to meetings, sales meetings, Zoom.us. There's a million platforms out there that you can use to have these video style sales meetings and to just make sure that people while they're working remotely have the information they need, can get the questions answered if they have questions they need answered at home, so that they have a working system in place that where if they do have to work remote, it works for the dealership, it works for the salesperson, it works for the customer, and who knows, maybe it even promotes some change in some dinosaur dealerships, we'll call them, that needed to happen, right? This might propel some dealerships in a positive way in the sense where, some people operate on fear, and when something wakes them up enough to scare them into, oh my gosh, we have to change, that's finally when the change happens. So, this might be a blessing in disguise for some dealerships. At the end of the day, it's a health crisis, so it's terrible what we're going through as a country and as a nation. I wholeheartedly believe that we're going to make it through it and we're going to come out stronger at the end. I think the economy is going to come back. I think that families' health is going to come back, and I think we're going to make it through it. But while we're here, we got to, focus on the half glass full type thinking and say, what can we do to do what we can as a dealership to still service our customers, to still get them the vehicles that they need so that they can travel around during this quarantine, to go get food for their family, to go get water for their family. Maybe we have people that are living in fifth wheels and motorhomes and things like that are around the country that need service for their fifth wheel, or they need to buy a new fifth wheel for the pipeline, or whatever the case is. There's a lot of different scenarios that can happen. So we have to make sure as dealerships we're there for our customers, we're there for the marketplace, and they can get to us in a digital aspect because we're being forced to do that during this COVID-19 scare and crisis.
And on top of that too, being there for your employees, because if you're a great leader, you realize your employees don't work for you. You work for your employees. So making sure that they're safe, and like I said before, allowing that work from home option for some of your employees that might be on the higher risk scale. I think that's totally necessary right now, and I'm excited to see what dealerships do in the future. Having this play out, wasn't exactly what any of us wanted, but I think a lot of good can come from it regardless.
Yeah. And that's really probably one of the most important points is if you're a dealership, you have an obligation to your employees to, still get them paid, still feed their families, and doing things like this, adjusting your marketing budget, adjusting your sales process, going a little more digital in this time of crisis is the things that you got to do as the owner of a dealership, as the executives of a dealership, to still help the families and help the economy grow in the way that you need it to grow so that we can get through this better on the end. So, hey, this is Dealership Digest. We're talking about selling during the coronavirus health crisis. So hopefully your dealership out there is ready for, some digital sales for the near future. And keep checking back in with us as we're going to keep talking about how to sell more units at your dealership month after month. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Thank you for watching Dealership Digest, presented by IMR.
To see more episodes, subscribe to our YouTube channel or like our Facebook page.
And if you need digital training for your dealership, then visit us online at imr.training
or infiniteMediaResources.com.